Absolutely phenomenal morning, guys. Phenomenal Momentum Monday. Momentum Monday on this phenomenal Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Shaan Raiz, of course, as always, flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson. Guys, give it up for yourself. Like it's a Monday, right? It's a Monday morning and you are here. And you could be in the bed, you could be running, you could have woke up late. There's probably a lot of people that did wake up late. Guys, give a shout out to the people that woke up late, right? Put a one in the chat for the people that didn't make it, because this is going to be a hashtag replay for those people, right? For those late comers, late risers, the people who didn't show up, right? So I want you to understand something. There's a reason why I'm saying momentum. Matter of fact, share this out to somebody, tag somebody who didn't wake up, tag someone who is not here. And if you're here, let us know where you're calling in from. Where are you arriving from? Sharon Arundel, phenomenal morning. Tia Rogers, phenomenal morning. Guys, if you're present, let me know that you're here. We're going to do a roll call, but I need to know that you're present, because presence is power and power is purpose. So where are you at? What is the energy in the room on this phenomenal Momentum Monday? Bobby Jackson, do I have too much energy this morning? What's going on? How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling phenomenal, Voice is coming back, so that's great. And I'm super excited about the ability to start every week with energy and consistency, because I'm looking at the month and it's the 18th already.
Yes, that's right.
And as I look at the month and I'm like, wow, it's already the 18th. The next thing that comes to mind is a shot clock. In sports, you got a shot clock. You got so much time left to make it happen. And those people that you can depend on to close out a big game. And that's how I feel this morning. I feel like right now it's halftime. You went to the locker room, you got the X's and O's on the board, drunk some Gatorade, dust yourself off, and now you're back on the court. And it's Monday. So I'm excited.
Very good. Okay, guys, what's the energy in the room? Again, what is the energy in the room? We had some phenomenal clients go work with the team this weekend, guys. I'm going to tell you, there's some big things going on in the leadership leverage. Huge, absolutely phenomenal. Again, we had some phenomenal clients come and meet with the team and actually get some internal work done. So when we talk about work, we're all about that work. Weekends are only weekends for you guys. Like when you're really in business, that's right. Time is money and money is time. When you're really in business, weekends don't exist. People ask me all the time, like, Shaan, what day do you think it is? And I'll be honest, like, I don't watch the calendar like that. I don't watch the clock. You know what I do watch? I watch my goals. I watch my goals and I make my competition watch me. Guys, this is the Breakfast with the Brand. We'll be right back. I want you in the right state of mind. Share this out. Tag somebody who didn't woke up late on this phenomenal Momentum Monday. Let's grow. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaways just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys, Momentum Monday. So I want to expose a supreme fallacy, right? And this is I want to expose a supreme fallacy because the appearance of success can be an illusion. It can be fleeting, right? Just think about the energy, and this is probably going to impact some people some kind of way, right? One thing I want you to know is I don't care about how you feel emotionally. That's not my thing. My thing is to help you succeed in business, to help you succeed in family, to help you succeed in your economy. That is my thing. You might be motivated, but this is not going to be a motivational speech. And you might be inspired, but this is not going to be an inspirational speech either. Momentum, consistency is how you succeed in life and in business. So we are nearing and approaching the second quarter. This is the last month of the first quarter. And now if you break down the month into quarters, we're approaching the third quarter of the last month of the first quarter. Mathematically, what does that mean? You have 2 more weeks to make something out of the first quarter. And if you fail, it's on you. You can't blame the weather. You can't blame the market. You can't blame the conditions of politics. You can't blame anything but yourself. And let me tell you something, and I really want you to self-assess. I was speaking with a phenomenal client. I told him self-assessment is one of the most critical leadership capacities. The ability to critically and honestly and genuinely and transparently and vulnerably self-assess. Did you start the beginning of this quarter on fire? And are you on fire now? Has your fire grown or has your fire been put out?
I love how we have to consider so many things when you're scaling and growing a business. So for me, I have found this season in my growth, because those of y'all that's been following the channel for a while know about the 400% revenue growth and how it's happened over and over again. But the side that we don't talk about, the illusion side, is how do you handle all of that? How do you manage all of that? How do you grow during all of that? And the reason I want to share this with you all is so that you can get a transparent look at how to keep yourself moving forward. And one of those interesting things is you want to be able to look within yourself, self-assess, and then find the reason to keep on going. I heard this phenomenal song once, and it said, I've got a million reasons to quit, but I'll stay if you can give me one good one. Or like, I just need one good reason to stay. And I think that's how business can be sometimes. Like when you get to a certain stage, it's like you got a million reasons to stop, a million reasons to put the flame out, a million reasons to say, you know what, I just don't think this is going to work. But you just got to find that one good reason to keep going sometimes. So I just wanted to share that as the conversation unfolds, because we're talking about momentum. We're talking about pushing and pressing. And when the momentum wants to die out and when you have every reason to stop, all you need is one good reason to keep going. And that's kind of where I've been multiple times, where it's like, man, this does not look good. But I always find one reason to keep going, and it always works out.
Now watch this, guys. I hope Bobby doesn't think he's special. I really, really hope that Bobby Jackson doesn't think he's special, because Shaan Rais, years and years, decades before you knew who I was given all evidence of potential failure, all reasons to quit. I'm the guy that was out at 3 o'clock in the morning pushing a car through the snow. I'm the guy that was digging out a car in a blizzard when nothing moved. Trains didn't move. All business was shut down. So I could like slide across the snow on my way across boroughs to get to a job that wasn't even open, just to find out that it was closed. But let me tell you what that did for me. It built character. It was a character defining moment. Write those words down. You need some character defining moments. And when things look like they're not working, when the revenue wears off, when the money and the energy, when the New Year's runs out, when the resolutions need some revolution in you, that's when you show up. You show up in the bottom of the 9th inning, guys. Bottom of the 4th quarter. I'm so serious. Like, it's not sweet. Please don't think business is sweet. Please don't think it's easy. It's not easy. But I don't want you to look at how far you have to go and how hard it's going to be. I want you to look in retrogression. It's called a retrogressive perspective. Okay, I'm going to use some terms here. I'm going to use some words here. When you come to anything that Shaan Rais is a part of, you're going to hear terminology. You're going to hear perspectives. You're going to hear evidence-based strategies and tactics that, if you use, will work again and again and again. Because I don't base my sound, practical, business applicable strategies on the last book I read or a motivational speech I listened to. It's based on decades and decades of evidence-based research and peer-reviewed articles that are scientifically based and grounded in research. It's not hyperbole. It's not hype. If you apply it, it will work consistently, time and time again. So I'm going to say, throw everything that I say to you against the wall, see if it sticks. I've told clients all the time, I say this, as you've probably never heard this before, what I want you to do is I want you to try to prove me untrue. So no matter what I say, just go apply it for 90 days and come back to me and say, hey, Shaan, I did everything you said for the last 90 days and it didn't work. You know what has happened in those 90 days? People have transformed their lives. They've transformed their careers. They've transformed their relationships. They've transformed their physical state. And yes, they've transformed their economics and emotional state on the back end, but the emotional part is not my primary concern. My primary concern is helping you build a sound, results and revenue producing business. Okay. Everybody looks good at the beginning of the story, at the beginning of the movie. Everything is smooth. Everything is beautiful. You never turn on a movie and it's like calamity and insanity. No, you turn on a movie and it's smooth. And they're establishing the characters. So you meet the mom, you meet the dad, you meet the kids, you meet the dog, you meet all of the nice things. There's a huge party at the beginning of the year. Everything looks phenomenal. It's serene, it's quiet. And that's when the boom happens. As soon as everybody goes and gets in the car and drives down the driveway, boom, car collision. After the party comes the work, guys. Business is not a party. Getting an education is not a party. Building a strong, solid marriage is not a party. I'm talking about after the honeymoon. See, a lot of people want you to get encouraged and emotionally engaged with the honeymoon story. There's a time and a place for the honeymoon story, but right now, in the third quarter of the last month of the first quarter, it's not time for the honeymoon story. It's time for Shaan. What do I do when things go wrong? When things go wrong, it's time for you to dig in and dig out, because you might have got buried. Life might have shown up in multiple different ways. It's funny because when the relationship is going right, the revenue goes wrong. When the revenue is going wrong, the relationship. You understand? Like it's always one or the other. It's like opposite sides of a pole. You pick the calamity. You pick the problem. And you can pick one now for yourself. What happened? Let me tell you this. You're not alone. You're not alone. I hope you came for straight talk. Because if you take this straight talk for what it really is, you'll be successful. This is so much more powerful than a master's degree, like an MBA. Like what I give you is sound, applicable from a real practitioner. Like I'm not a professor. I don't profess. I produce. So if you're looking for results, that's what you're going to get here. I'm going to tell you some real things, and we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Instagram. And I thank you for being here on all different platforms, but don't come here for soft tea or whatever they call that stuff in Starbucks with all the carbs and the sugar and all that stuff. Like you're not going to get that here. Whatever the newest cappuccino, frappuccino, you're not going to get that here. You're going to get straight black coffee here. And it's going to sober you up. Because sometimes we need to be sobered because we're not getting the results. We're paying for all types of stuff. We're running and gunning. We're on the treadmill, but we're going nowhere. And I just want you to really understand, like, there are some people who started this year phenomenally super encouraged at the event. They came to the party. But right now, they're under the ground, literally. With the plastic fork, and they have to dig themselves out because all the hype and all the paparazzi and all the motivational videos they listen to buried them in no results and happy-go-lucky feelings, right? And then there's some people who came into the new year wondering how it was going to turn out, took it very seriously, critically. They might have been at the party, but they were examining things. They were assessing things. They were weighing things. They were making investments that were strategic, sometimes more than they thought that they could bear. And at this critical moment in the third quarter of the last month of the first quarter, they've done some things that they've never seen before. Like they're floating. They've done some things. They've seen some things. They've closed some clients. They've taken momentous steps towards the end of the year, right? Towards next year, 2025, 2026, 2027. They're setting themselves up for success in a huge way. In a huge way. The investments that I've made, never knew they were going to produce results. I just had faith. They were so much more than I could bear. But I believe that my cross was shared. I believe that my burden was shared. Like my load was lightened by faith, looking at the faces of my family, and consistency. Because every mile that you go towards your future takes you a mile away from where you just came from. So whatever that pain in the past is, whatever that traumatic situation was, whatever that huge financial loss was, whatever the divorce looked like, whatever the neglect and the abuse looked like, the further you get, the closer you get to your future, the further away you get from your past, guys, and it begins to hurt less. It's a different kind of pain. We all have stories. You guys know mine. I'm super transparent. I'm just a kid from Harlem who God chose to show his favor and mercy through. Grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. That was like Hanoi. That was like a tsunami. Picture the worst thing that you could possibly imagine. That's what it was like growing up in Harlem in the late 80s, early 90s. Epidemic beyond epic proportions. Pandemic before the pandemic. So you've been through some things and I know it. I know it. But listen, this is the good news, right? I know you're like, good God, Shaan is crushing us today with all of the feeling good stuff. Okay, I told you this was not going to be a motivational speech, but watch this. You got 2 weeks left. You got 2 weeks left and you got breath in your lungs. Not only do you have breath in your lungs, but you're here. Not only do you have breath in your lungs and you're here, but you're here and I'm not playing with you. I am so serious. You can turn these next 2 weeks into the best 2 weeks that your business has ever experienced, that your life has ever experienced. You just have to take it critically seriously. You can't play with your time. You can't play with your days. You can't play with your moments. You can't play with your money. You can't play with your investments. You got to make sound, strategic, critical investments of your time, of your energy, of your focus. What are you reading? If you're not successful in business, you need to take the TV off the wall and throw it out the window. Guys, this is The Breakfast with the Brand. We'll be right back. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Shaan Rais. I'm proud. That's Shaan Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know, Bobby, was that too rough and too direct for this Monday morning?
I think it was right on time, just what everybody needed to hear, because I remember we were talking recently about what state you're in. And when you get in the right state, mind frame, and all of those different things, it allows you to execute at the highest level. So I think that was definitely a state shift for a lot of us. And it was much needed. much needed. I think one of the most interesting things about going through the process of building your business, developing your business, is that the uncertainty makes everything heavier. It's like if you knew when the next paycheck was coming, maybe you'd be able to handle a little bit better. If you knew what the next client was going to say, maybe you'd be a little bit all right. But it's just the fact that so many things are so uncertain that it just is like the weight feels heavier. It feels heavier. But what I've realized is that that's the only difference between corporate and business. And I'm being very general when I say the only difference. But if you really think about it, most people that are trying to build their businesses right now, if you've had a corporate job or you've been around for a while, you've probably worked many, many hours in your day job and you've worked really, really hard. But the interesting thing about a corporate job is it tells you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It's very focused and you know exactly where you're supposed to be and you know how to exceed the expectation because the standard is established. And I think that's what many of us entrepreneurs are figuring out at this stage, or whatever stage you're at, is what standard of excellence am I going to enforce and how do I exceed it? And we're still talking about business, leadership, and branding because that's that interesting place where I'm at. I'm at that interesting place where I have to set the standard as the leader because the standard that I set is going to determine the trajectory that I get. And what I mean by that is I come from a household where my mother lived paycheck to paycheck. I come from a household where food stamps was the thing. So when you have all of these things in you and all of these things that built you, I can honestly say I've had a mentality at one point in time where as long as I get enough to pay the bills, I'm good. That's not a profitable company. That is a business that's surviving. And sure, you get better and better at not running out of money, but do you ever get to that place where you're actually profitable, growing and scaling? So it's great to have seen that evolution in myself, to see the growth, to see going from very little to having more than I needed to having in the middle. It's like I got more, then I got less. So I just want to say this before I give it back to Shaan, is that don't let your appearances, like what you're looking at right now, define the next move. There's this phenomenal book called Getting to Neutral. And it says when you can't be positive, like when everything looks negative, like when there's not a positive outlook, the best thing you can do is get to neutral and take the next logical step. And if that for you is entrepreneurship, the next logical step is to close the next deal. Get back to the basics, lock yourself into your zone and do what's required to close and don't let anything else distract you. And that's what I'm learning as I'm going through this scaling phase of really going from growth to scale. And we might not even get into that distinction.
Very good. So from growth to scale, I have a phenomenal acronym. And it sounds oriental, but you got to remember, like I come from a corporate and highly industrial and organizational psychology, organizational development, and change leadership background. So I have these different acronyms and these different epiphanies at different times in business. And one of them is Goshi. Goshi. You won't be able to Google it. When you're a creator, like you literally create like language and words. It's okay. Bear with us. You'll become one if you stick around long enough. The spelling of the word is Ghoshi. Goshi. So it sounds, or it's spelled like it sounds. Goshi. They're probably like, is Shaan going crazy? No, I'm not. Pay attention. Growth happens outside, scale happens inside. Growth happens outside, scale happens inside. So what do I mean? Your body will grow, but your mind might not. Your spirit might not. Your maturity might not. Your revenue might grow, but your relationships might not. Your health might not. Your peace, like the literal comfort, like your peace might not. Your clientele might grow, which means your sales might go up, but your reputation and your brand might not. Your service might not correlate. So you might sell something and then give people an experience that they don't understand, so they don't stay. Sales is growth. Retention is scale. Retention is scale. And I know I'm probably using some terms that people might not be familiar with, or at least concepts that they might know the word, but not understand the concept. Watch this. For my people on LinkedIn, for my people who are professionals, for my people who are still on employees, you might have gotten the job 10 years ago, but have you scaled the position? Are you in a management position? Are you in the C-suite now? Did you get the job to stay at that place in the business, or did you get the job to scale? You probably got the job to scale, but when you grew, when you got the job, when you attained the first thing, you got comfortable and complacent instead of consistent. See, people lose consistency and they replace consistency with complacency. And it's complacency that kills. It's complacency that kills. There's a term in business, speed kills, because speed is what you do the right way. There's a word, guys. There is a quotable by Mark Cuban. When you run with elephants, you're either quick or you're dead. When you run with elephants, you're either quick. There's the quick and the dead. That's how he says it. When you run with elephants, there's the quick and the dead. So watch this. You got the job, but when you're running with the elephants, there's the quick and the dead. So I was the type of person that got to the job in the business when the business was closed, in the snow and the blizzard, and I had to push my car and take it home and dig it out again. If you stopped in this blizzard, you would be buried immediately. So it was a constant repetition of unbury drive, unbury drive, unbury drive, because you was almost buried every red light. But that's the kind of energy and fervor that I brought. I know a lot of people are probably here saying, good God, why is he so energetic on a free call? Why is he giving so many vitamins, nutrients, and protein? Why is he giving so much on a free call? That's just my energy. Why? Because I want you to be successful for real. So I'm going to give you more for free than you get for a fee. You're going to get more on purpose than you probably got in your last 5 courses during an hour. And it's like, what is this model? It's called disruptive. It's called, to break it down and to classify it in business terms, it's called disruptive. I am disruptively disobedient to status quo. Why? Because I can be. Because I really want you to be successful. So take what I've learned, take what I've learned, and I had to earn my ability to learn it. I had to pay for everything I know the hard way. 3 master's degrees don't come overnight, nor are they cheap. Decades in business don't come overnight, nor are they cheap. So everything I say, take it with a grain of salt, because it was earned. Blood, sweat, and tears on the battlefield of business and life, Black life. It's not easy. And a lot of people are looking for the fast road. They're looking for the escalator. What you need is a parachute. They're looking for the escalator. What you need is a parachute. But watch this. What I'm giving you right now is a parachute. And it is an escalator in one, because it's transparent, it's vulnerable, and it's true. It's not nonsense. I'm not trying to sell you a ticket. I'm giving you a fact that if you utilize in your business or your life, it will return dividends. Dividends of rewards. You will increase your life. You will increase the quality of your life, because you'll finally be able to apply something that actually works. Something that actually works. Growth happens outside. Don't get trapped. Don't get caught. Don't have one good moment and think, oh, great, this is it. I finally found it. No. Business scalability, business consistency, business reliability, business predictability is built on consistency. So soon as you think that you're doing something right, get very nervous, like become hypersensitive and aware of what could potentially go wrong. Because we live in a rapidly changing, volatile market and things go wrong all the time. So I put something in the chat, guys. Are you learning something? Put a 1 in the chat if you're learning something. Is this over your level, or should I stop or water it down? Let me know if I should pour some water in the tea or something. Is this too much? Put a 1 in the chat if you're learning something and it's good for this Monday morning. I want to know. I don't want to just take you with me or drag you somewhere you don't want to go. But if you're enjoying this and you're learning something and it's applicable and I haven't lost you, then I want to keep going. I put something in the chat. Okay, we got a ton of 1s. Thank you very much. Do you want so-called security or certainty? Let's get this certainty thing right. Let's get this certainty thing really right. Sometimes we got to enhance the magnifying glass. Sometimes we have to enhance the diameter of which we're critically looking at something and examining it. So Bobby said something about certainty and certainty being acquainted with the check. But that's not really certainty. So while we talk and while we have dialogue, you'll see me sometimes course correct myself and others. If the pandemic didn't show you anything, it should have shown you that so-called security, which came with a 401k, and so-called certainty, which came with a job and a contract, wasn't real. That is supreme fallacy. We live in a very unstable economy where the only certainty is your reliability, your productivity, your ability to produce value in an open market and create margins. That's certainty. No matter what happens in the volatile market, no matter what they're talking about with the talking heads on TV, no matter what, I don't care who gets elected. Shaan East will be able to create value because I've invested into myself. And I won't worry where the next dollar or the next client is coming from because I made so many investments, not only into business, not only into myself, but into the universe that the universe has to pay me. It has to pay me because there's universal laws that go beyond politics or beyond economies. I promise you, it makes no difference whatsoever where we go, what we do, no matter what the state of affairs is, as long as there is life and there is opportunity, we will be able to produce value and find a market for it. It doesn't make a difference. So if the pandemic didn't prove anything to us, it should have proven to us that our jobs were not guaranteed, that our checks were not guaranteed, that our so-called stability and little fragile sense of security and certainty was not guaranteed. The only thing that was guaranteed is you better understand that it's about you versus you.
Yeah. This call is so interesting because of the energy. The energy of this call is one that is teleportive. Like if you let it, it can teleport you somewhere. I remember being on a call with Shaan once and the background changed. And I think it was between two different courses, maybe. Maybe it was between closing like a leader and speaking like a leader. I don't remember. But I remember being in one course and the background was one way and the energy was one way. And I was, man, something's going on. And he said to me, you have no idea. And then the next course, the whole background was different. And the reason I preface this way is because you never know when you're one step away from a wormhole. And I'm not going to go deep into that or nothing crazy, but it's like a wormhole just takes you somewhere. It's like if you go through this entry point, you come out on a completely different side of the house or a completely different side of the world. And I think That's what happened every time I went through one of the courses that Shaan put together. And I share this right now because a lot of times we don't know what we're listening for and we miss it. So I just want to clarify something really quickly. If I can tell you guys a story, please put a 2 in the chat. If I can share a very brief story, very short, very, very short, but it'll illuminate what's happening here. And it'll let you guys understand why this is such an impactful experience that we're having right now. So here is how the story would go. There was an individual that was dropped behind enemy lines. They were told that help was on the way and that they would hear an alarm once help arrived. These individuals were expecting to hear a chime, like a ding, ding. That's what they were looking for. And the help came, but they blew a horn instead. And as the horn was being blown, because they were listening for a chime, they missed the horn. And what you're hearing right here and what you're getting right here is a horn that says, it's not sweet. I'm trying to help you. Hello, I'm here. Come in. You like the parachutes are already laid out for you. The pilot has the ladder hanging out, but you might think it's the enemy because you're listening for the wrong thing. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to listen for, but I will tell you this. Why you're here is not why you're here. And I'm not the originator of that term. You know, Shaan Rais told that to me years ago, and it stuck with me. So I'll end with this. You know what you need to do. You know what you're supposed to do. I know what I need to do. And when you see a lifeline, grab it, hold on to it, and trust that it's going to be strong enough to bring you in. And that's just a piece I wanted to share because this is very, very powerful energy that you guys are receiving this morning.
There's a reason why Bobby's here, right? Like on this call. There's a reason why Bobby's here on this call. I have a lot of people that and shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. Last Saturday, she gave a phenomenal testimony and transparent, authentic, almost a dissertation on resilience and authenticity. She'll be here next Saturday as well. Or no, not next Saturday. This Saturday, she's doing something in Michigan. So guys, just go back to my Saturday's event. Like if you went to go to Saturday's, shout out to Michelle. Go to Saturday's Breakfast with the Brand and see what Michelle has going on in Michigan. If you're there, you don't want to miss it. If you're not going to be there, you're probably not going to want to miss it online either. Sign up for it one way or the other. I promise you. You want to support things that are bigger than you, greater than you. And I make a mission out of creating a platform for people and missions and visions that are bigger than me. And what I do, I want to create platforms and leverage points for leaders so they can create change that they would not be able to create otherwise and touch people that they would not be able to touch otherwise. It's truly a sacrificial service that we provide here. I believe in servant leadership to the utmost degree. So I was serving and sacrificing for you guys 10, almost 15 years ago before you had a clue who I was. When I was pushing the car in the snow, when I was buried underground in New York City's transit system somewhere, hoping to get where I need to get and go where I need to go on time, running through the stations because I was chasing something. Well, we caught it. For all those people that I might have bumped into while I was running down there in them tunnels, if I knocked you down, I apologize, but I caught what I was chasing. And now we give it away for free. Now we give it away for free. So let me tell you why Bobby's here. Bobby's here because he took a leap of faith. Bobby's here because he heard me say something that touched something in him. You might be touched right now. I might have said something that touched you in some kind of way. I said something that touched Bobby in a certain kind of way, And my faith connected with his faith, and he said, I've got faith. I want you to understand something. My faith, ability to chase, run, sacrifice, invest, touch something in his faith capacity. So people, there's levels to faith, guys. Oh, ye of little faith. There's levels to faith. You might tap out at $500. Your faith might be worth $500. Well, I think Bobby's faith at that point was like $5,000 or $6,000. And he said, you know what? I've got the faith. I'll meet you there. He came in, he met me there, and boom, first year, 400% revenue increase. Not only that, but he freed people from jobs that they didn't want to be in. He freed people close to him from hostile environments of employment volatility in economic markets. And then the second year, boom, another 400% on top of the 4 that was before. So he freed himself from an equally hostile, volatile environment of economy and employment. Third year, and his investments are going up as his faith is increased and his confidence grows up and goes up, and his service to his clients goes up and goes up, and his sacrifice goes up and goes up. Watch what happens the third year. Boom, another 400% revenue increase. Again, proving that faith is foundational to your ability to be successful, not in your job, if that's where you want to apply it, but in your life and in your business and in the world, because he's touched people and changed their lives the way his life was changed and the way his life was touched. So if we're touching you right now, and if you're feeling something right now, this is the result of years and years of dedication, hard work, sacrifice, servant leadership, and high level investment. And focus, choosing where the focus goes. Because I could have been an expert in football. I could have been an expert in who's winning the championships, but I don't even know who's playing ever. And listen, Bobby, it's so funny because I was doing something for business, right? I was doing something for business in another state, guys. So I'm traveling, I'm doing the things that I do. And I go out to eat on a Sunday. And there's nobody in the streets. Nobody in the streets. And I'm like, this is interesting. For where I was, for the state that I was in, I said, nah, this is what's going on. It's like a ghost town. Did something come on the news? Is it like a pandemic I didn't know about? Like, is it contagious? I don't know. We go sit down in a restaurant. Me and my wife were having dinner. And guess what happens? Guess what comes on the screen? Usher. And it's the Super Bowl. And I had absolutely no clue. Absolutely no clue that it was that day, who was playing or nothing, because that's not my business. Guys, you got your focus and your noses and your attention in every business but your own. You're paying too much attention to things that don't economically, environmentally, or emotionally impact you at all. It has no impact. If you take nothing at all away from this call, if this is the only thing that you take away from this call, stop involving yourselves in things that are non-impactful. The TV, screen, show, whatever it is, their goal is not to help you to grow your business, your life, your relationship, your health. It is meant to distract you from your purpose and the people that you were sent to be of salvation to. And if you hear something or see something, say something. If you hear something or see something that resonates with you, that touches you, that makes you feel like you should make a move, don't wait. Don't wait. Because that's something else that the pandemic taught me. See, in 2019, I had all kinds of goals and stuff written down. I had all kinds of stuff that I was going to do. I had the whole year mapped out. That's what I do. I map out years in advance. So I had the whole 2020 was mapped out. And then around the first quarter, end of the first quarter, this is a little bit like spiritual. Business is a spiritual game. But around the same time as now, in 2020, the whole world changed. Now, I always say that winter's coming. But the reality is, I don't care where you're at, I don't care what time zone you're in, winter is here right now. It has been. You just might not have noticed it because you're watching TV, or because you're watching sports, or because you're watching politics. So I'm going to leave you with this, like, get out of other people's business and dig into your own, because your own strength, your own potential for creativity is your only certainty in this market. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. If you enjoyed this, share it out. Somebody needs to hear it. Tag someone who needs to hear it. And be here tomorrow, same time, same place, because this is Servant Leadership. Let's grow.